Hello, and thank you for joining me. My name is Leah Zalams, and I am the CEO, founder, and lead coach for Z-Axis Leadership Consultancy. Today, we're going to take a journey around the 8 elements that it takes to create career success in today's market. And why does this matter? This matters because the world has changed dramatically over the last 6 to 12 months. We're in the midst of a pandemic that doesn't appear to be easing very soon, and the global business market has changed. So we, as professionals, must change with it. So this 8-piece model is designed to help you determine where you are in that journey piece. Which of the 8 elements are you proficient at, and which of the 8 could you do with some more attention? So without further ado, I will take you through a few slides. And at the end of this, for those of you who are interested in more information or going deeper with me on this topic, there will be an opportunity to register your interest. And so stick with me to the end. So welcome to the Z-Axis Leadership Consultancy Career Change Lab. And this is a community, an environment, an opportunity for mature professional women to create their career success and make this next move your best one yet. It's specifically designed for busy experts, women who are top of their game or perhaps not quite where they would like to be, or are ready for something completely different. Often we just don't know what it is. We just know we want it to be different. And if this is you, welcome. Others of you will be really clear about the role that you're going for, and for some reason the dice are not falling in your favor, the pieces are not coming together, the opportunities aren't happening, so you might be looking for some guidance here as well. So let's take the journey around the deck and see where we land. So what are the key ingredients for career success? Who doesn't want a role and work that is meaningful, that lights their passion, gives them a sense of purpose, and delivers monetary reward? And I have added the element of profit here because in my experience coaching executive women and teams over the years, one of the big gaps is often a disconnect between a woman's sense of self-worth and the professional value of her role, and the ability to negotiate and stand firm in those discussions around money and terms and conditions of employment. And that is something that I personally have had a lot of experience in, and I enjoy working with women on that level because it is so vital today to have that work-life balance. That is key. So passion, purpose, and profit, what does it take to have an environment, a role, be doing work that gives you that? The 4 elements, I will come back and talk to these individually, but what is your superpower? What is that go-to set of skills, strengths, capabilities that makes you uniquely you? And what is your superpower solution? What is that thing when you are doing, when you are in flow, when you are creating, when you are producing, when you are in your element? And there is that element of combining those elements of you and what you are doing in your role. Just going back to the other elements, any solution, any role now must solve a problem. The definition around problem is becoming more and more acute. There is far less money and resource available for ancillary jobs. How does your job, your role, solve a problem? What problem is that? What price will people pay to solve that problem? And how big a market is there that have that problem, that are willing to pay for that problem to be solved? And does this problem and the solution you provide How much of a ripple effect does that have to the larger ecosystem? Every new product, new role must add value and improve the ecosystem in some way. So how do all these four interrelate? Let's go back to your superpower and your superpower solution. What are those strengths, those values, those key attributes about you, the things you're interested in, the things that you have studied, that you love to work in, and how do you translate and take those skills and attributes and capabilities into the work that you do? And what is that work that you do? What problem does that solve? And what does it make possible when that problem is solved? These are the key elements of your personal and professional brand that come about when we get clarity and definition around these two elements. When we have that, and when you're working in your superpower, in your strengths, in your values, you are doing work that lights you up, both from a personal value perspective and also to the value that you bring to your organization. So that's why it's key to do this diagnostic work. How much will people pay to solve this problem? This is the market research phase. How well are you researching what the current market availability is for the roles that you are interested in? Or what is the market paying for the role that you do? What is your competition doing? Who are your competition? And what are their key attributes, capabilities, skills, values? What are they charging? This is market research. Again, it will be a combination of phone work and potentially survey work, many different ways to do the market research. Then you go to market and you test your hypothesis. So you've done the market research and you have data that suggests that a certain role will pay a certain amount, or a business will deliver a certain amount of revenue, a product, a solution that you're designing is going to get a certain price. What will people actually pay? The reality is in the numbers. And this is where the business validation phase is really important. And we must remain disconnected from the data. The data is simply feedback that is giving us a reality check on, is what we think actually the case in the real world? And this is where we start to see the impact of the problem on a greater scale. And when our role, our solution, our problem solving capability, when that problem is big enough that it's impacting a variety of areas and environments, then this is where we see the sales and profit grow, because there's a need. There's a lot of people that have that problem that are willing to pay to have it solved, and they're willing to pay you to solve it. So this is where we see growth. And if we don't see growth, if we don't see the profit improving, you don't see the monetary reward coming in, they are all red flags. There's something that's not clicking over particularly well. So my question to you as you consider these 8 elements is, on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of these, what is your clarity and confidence level? Are you clear about your superpower and how you use that superpower, and the quality and complexity of the problem that that superpower solution solves, and how that fits in to the greater ecosystem? And this is when we have our best chance at working in a role, whether that's within an organization, whether it's within a small business, maybe it's starting your own business or being a consultant or a solopreneur. The essence of you feeling the passion, feeling purposeful, and making the money and the profit that you want, when all of these areas are ticking the boxes, this is your best chance at achieving that. So what happens for you when you consider, let's say in 12 months' time, you have that role, you're in that business, you've started your new gig, you're consulting, you're whatever it is that you've got your eye on doing, let's imagine that you've achieved it. Let's imagine that you are experiencing the passion and the purpose. You're getting the feedback both on a monetary level and a relationship level and a market level, that everything that you're doing is actually improving the ecosystem in some way. What will that make possible for you? What will the quality of your life be, your relationships, your sense of self-worth? This is what's at stake here. So what happens when we start to allow ourselves to dream? From my experience, there's a lot of reasons why it can't be done, reasons why it can't be you, reasons why not now. All these kinds of thoughts come up and they seem to be extremely powerful for many of us. This is normal. And I've captured an array of these from different client examples and of myself as well. I am not immune to this either. But which of these rings true for you? Perhaps it's the idea of selling, of putting yourself out there, of, wow, who would choose me? I'm too old, I'm too bit long in the same job, or I've been out of job for too long. All sorts of things come up. So these are also what need to be dealt with, and in order for you to move through it. And then there are the key questions to ask yourself, to have a really honest sit down chat that will give you an indication of whether you are kidding yourself in staying where you are, or whether what your situation is, that it really is time for you to be letting go of those golden handcuffs, if it's a case of staying in the role for the money and for the job security. If it's important to you that your work has meaning, that your work has purpose, that your work feeds your sense of passion and purpose. Now, if your work doesn't need to feed your sense of passion and purpose, that's fine too. I'm not judging you. It is an important question to ask though, because it can become quite soul destroying to continue trading time for money when your passion and purpose elements of being human are not being fed. So what if you could? What if you could make money solving a problem that matters to you? Are you being heard? Are you cutting through? Are you communicating your vision, your mission, your message with conviction? How would you know? Are you speaking up in board meetings? Or are your ideas being considered in those leadership meetings? Is someone else stealing your ideas and you're allowing that? Or are they talking over the top of you and that's just the norm? It's just the way it is. This feeds into the fourth point here around politics and patriarchy. And for most of us, we are working in male-designed, male-driven worlds, and patriarchy, politics are rife. And we have been conditioned to live with, this is just how it is. That's just how he is. How many times have I heard that of a CEO or senior executives? Well, we just put up with it because that's the way it is. Now, if we continue to put up with it because that's the way it is, we will never have that passion, purpose, and profit circle fulfilled. That's how important this is. And this is where I also ask you to consider for yourself, do you believe you deserve more? Are you getting paid your professional value? What happens if you were to aim at doubling your salary? What feelings come up for you? What sorts of thoughts come up for you? Why wouldn't you, or why couldn't you earn double your salary if that matters to you? I'm not saying it needs to matter to you, but these are all indicators as to what does matter to you. So if there are niggling, if there is disgruntlement, if there's a burn, for you to actually get out of where you are, then this is the Imposter Be Gone program that I'm currently developing that may be an option for you. It will be a 12-week program that will be run both as a self-teach option or a self-teach plus, as in online self-teach, or online plus live coaching and community support, designed specifically for mature professional women to help you take that next move and make that next move the one that has the impact that you know that you have it in you to do, and that you really want to claim that for yourselves now. So the 5-step program will involve a deep dive into what makes you tick, what makes people tick. This is in our investigate stage. We integrate the things that are working well, the things you need to let go of, maybe look at some of the skills, the gaps, the values, and we put all that together to recreate your personal and professional brand, where you will be able to then make a clear decision as to the direction you want to take. And this is where you innovate. And this is where together we craft what you're going to do and how you're going to do it and what you take to market, how you go for those interviews, which interviews you go for, how you go about taking yourself out there. And the community element, the support, will be an ongoing opportunity to continue the conversation and to be given the support and community and group coaching it. So as you implement, as you get feedback in that real world, that feedback is often going to be a lot of rejection before you win, before you get that acceptance. And so together we will have that rejection become feedback instead of reasons to quit. They will simply be more data points instead of reasons to quit. You do not need to do this alone, is the message. So if this is something that you would like to explore more, please do get yourself on the wait list. Click the button below and I'll make sure that you're kept up to date with how this progresses. And alternatively, if you'd like a 30-minute call to explore whether that program or other options may be for you, then there is the option to book a 30-minute complimentary call with me as well. So take a screenshot of this, get yourself on the wait list, and I look forward to meeting you very soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to stop screen sharing for a moment, and I'm just going to talk a bit about my background. And there is a secret that business owners don't talk about, and I'll let you know what that is after I've given this little story. So I was born into a family business. It was around me 24/7, and around my parents 24/7 and my brother. And you can't help but take something from that. And even though I tried desperately not to get involved with family business and that, the entrepreneurial spirit just comes through, and now I've had 3 businesses along the way and lots of lessons learned. So at the peak of my corporate career, I was involved with a company that acquired 4 businesses, and they put these 4 businesses onto one site. And you can imagine the chaos. They had 4 businesses on the one premises doing their own thing, complete chaos. And then one day the general manager came up and he said, right, we're going to implement the ISO 9001 quality assurance system. It's going to take 2 years, and it's going to be internally and externally audited. Well, that was the start, and I was on the executive team that implemented that system. And the things that I got from that was that the business went from absolute chaos to coordinating all the activities and people knowing what they're to do. The processes and systems were put in place and they were easy to follow. Training was easy to do. People actually knew what they were to do. And it went from absolute overwhelm to intentional work. And this is really, really important. So then when I started my business as speakers practice, I also started training with Michael Port from the Book Yourself Solid system. And suddenly this business building system absolutely gave me an insight, because it was exactly the same as what I had been working with the quality system. The Book Yourself Solid system takes you from being overwhelmed to actually knowing the step-by-step processes. It teaches you how to build trust and credibility with your audience. It takes you through pricing, and it gives you an easy way of having sales conversations. And it also puts marketing into perspective. And what I find most interesting is that it actually takes the business development journey from the first time you meet someone right through to the process of creating a sale. And having that business system background really, I just happen to find it interesting. So there's a lot of benefits for following this business building system. And what was that secret that business owners don't tell you about? It's that starting a business and growing a business takes a lot of hard work and diligence and perseverance and resilience. And it's the best personal development journey you can go on. I just love what I do, but it does need education and learning. So I'm going to start screen sharing now, and we can have a look at these slides. Okay, there we go. So have you ever wondered why your marketing isn't getting you more clients? Have you been doing lots of marketing and that you're just not seeing the results that you're wanting or expecting? So the Book Yourself Solid approach could help. And there are two philosophical principles and there's one practical principle. The philosophical principle is that there are some people you are meant to serve and others not so much. So it's your job to go out and find those people you're meant to serve. The other thing is, philosophical principle is that Book Yourself Solid is a love story, and it's a love story between you and all those people you're meant to serve. And it's a love story between you and marketing, because the more that you are working with people that energize you and inspire you to do your best work, the more marketing you'll want to do and the more business you'll eventuate. The reality is that the practical principle is that marketing doesn't get you clients. And people say, what, really? That's why we do our marketing. But the thing is that the marketing raises awareness of the business, and it's what happens next that books the business. And so that's what the Book Yourself Solid system looks at. It is a business building system, and business development. Now, this is what we know as marketing, the 6 core self-promotion strategies: networking, connecting with people in our area, direct outreach. This is connecting with people who can actually possibly help you. You may not do business with them, but they may be able to help you. They may be able to introduce you to someone. Like Katra, I happen to know somebody who Katra would connect very well with. She also runs a party plan business for children. Giving and receiving referrals. Giving referrals displays you as a leader in the industry. Receiving referrals means that your work is being respected and trusted, and you are a trusted expert in your field. Speaking, writing, and the web can boost your marketing efforts. So when people find out about you through your marketing, they come and check you out and they look at your red velvet, or they look at your foundation. And Leah spoke to this foundation too. The red velvet rope policy is your ideal client, and this is the avatar. Why people buy what you're selling is whether does the business actually understand what the problems are that the prospect's having? Branding is all about how you show up in the world and who you help and what you help them do, and how you talk about what you do is so important. We're going to just have a little look at the red velvet rope policy. So this is your ideal clients. These are the people that energize you and inspire you to do your best work. So what do they look like? Who are they? What are their interests? What makes your clients, if you think of your clients, what makes the star ones? What makes the best of the best? What's the qualities? What are their interests, their hobbies? What do they look like? It's all, it's all about values. It's not necessarily about placing. And so this is a filtration system. And so you can allow into your business the people who energize you and inspire you to do your best work. Depending on the time of year, sometimes businesses are seasonal, so they'll open their filtration system or their red velvet rope policy when it's quieter, and then they'll tighten it when it's busier. If you are getting fully booked, you may be able to start to put your price up, and this will tighten your red velvet rope policy. And so this is your choice as a business owner to choose your ideal clients. You can assess the mid-range clients, and you can actually refer on the dark clients that take up a lot of your time. And so there is so much that needs working on with respect to your foundation. And the more as business owners we clarify and clearly understand the foundation, the better you'll be able to get the information across to your prospects. Now, when your prospects say, oh, yes, they can help me with the problem I have, then they'll give you an opportunity to earn their trust, like an email, like a phone call. They may take a business card, and then they go into your module 2, which is building trust and credibility. And the one thing with business owners prospects are the ones that choose the timing of purchase. People aren't going to buy when the business owner wants to sell necessarily. So it's the business owner's job to build trust and credibility with their audience, to keep their business front of mind. They do this with credibility builders, with products they have, with the way they keep in touch, keep the business front of mind, and any products that they have, information products or their content marketing, which can be free or paid, to build that credibility. And it's all about relationship at this stage. And then when the time's right and they're in conversation with the prospect, either the business owner has rung the prospect or the prospect has rung the business owner. And if they can have a simple sales conversation about what the problems are, or what they're wanting to move towards, if they're needing help with that, and you can ask, do you want me to help you, or would you like some help with that? And if you can go through that process, then you'll book the business. And it happens again and again and again. And so You are in the business of serving other people, helping people with understanding your world. And as you do that, you stand in your destiny and express yourself through your work. And that's my programs. I help with mentoring, training and implementation. And that's Michael Port. This was taken in 2014, which I can't believe. And actually, Michael, he started the Book Yourself Solid, wrote the Book Yourself Solid book in 2005. And now he's moved straight into public speaking and has heroic public speaking. So we have a whole lot of connection there. And so that's my part, and I hand over to Scott now. Can you take over, Scott? Where is he? Well, stop screen sharing. Where's Scott? Oh. Has he disappeared?
I have a feeling Scott's dropped out.
Yeah.
I can't see him in the list, so
okay.
Maybe he has a problem with the internet connection.
Alrighty. Well, oh, here he is. He's coming. Just wait.
Shall we move on to me?
He's
back.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's back. Hey!
Technical issue, I should say. That's all good.
Alrighty.
Let's see if I can actually share my screen from here. Can you guys all see this? Let me see if I got this all right. Okay, share screen. Oh,
Yep.
You guys
There you
can
go.
see this?
That's good, Scott.
That's perfect. Well, guys, I'm so excited to be presenting today. We're going to be talking about storytelling, right? It's been a passion I'm really really passionate about. So I'm going to be sharing this and everything that I can at the moment. I want some actionable steps for you guys, okay? So what is the formula of powerful and persuasive presentation? In my expert opinion, it's this: a perfect combination of message, story, and audience. A powerful message is only useful if it can find its audience. And an audience is only going to pay attention if you're invited on a journey through story. The old age of people don't buy based on facts, they buy based on how they feel, certainly rings true when it comes down to presentations. Humans are born storytellers and have been since the dawn of time. Stories have helped us provide meaning, context, and a sense of purpose to all forms of communication. However, when it comes down to presentations, many of us are guilty of bombarding our audience with facts and figures, keen to get to the point, right? Without building relevance and empathy. By doing this, we miss a vital opportunity, leaving a lasting and valuable impression, and leaving our audience wondering, what on earth was the message it was that you're trying to communicate, right? It's my goal by the end of today that you have a greater understanding as to what is involved in providing a presentation that nails all three: message, audience, and story. So warning, you've all been guilty of brain dumping our ideas onto a slide. I certainly have, without actually thinking on how to deliver a persuasive message. Worse still, we tend to vomit anything and everything onto the slide it's usually at the last minute, and thinking we can wow our audience with our vast depth of knowledge, only alienating them instead. Unfortunately, content creation for presentations is a fine art, and more often than not, less is more. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but no one is going to read all of your slides, content while you're presenting. People only read what is relevant to them and retain the information they deem to be important. Not only this, but studies have proven that it is next to impossible to read and listen at the same time. We are more effective at listening and retaining information than reading it. I'm here to provide you with some action steps on how to craft your ideal pitch. I want to give you some valuable information on what it takes to create a persuasive presentation. There's a lot more to a successful persuading an audience than simply knowing your subject matter and expecting others to take your word for it. In fact, one of the most important parts of being able to persuade is to present well. Be a good presentation only comes from good planning. Whether it's a 2-hour or a short 10-minute talk, it's still going to be important to deliver your message clearly with the time you are given. And in this case, 15 to 20 minutes. Also, it's important to remember that a presentation is a marathon, not a sprint. Practice, practice, practice makes perfect. The more you practice delivering your content, whether it be with a coworker or your furry friend or the mirror, the more and better natural you appear in delivering your message to people that really matter, your audience. Only through careful planning and practice, your delivery can be assured of an impactful presentation that hits all the high notes. As a presenter, we tend to feel like we hold the most power in the room. It's no wonder we are the person people come to listen to or watch on a Zoom, standing up on stage or in front of a room. All eyes are focused on our direction. But in reality, the presenter comes in at number 2. The audience is the most important person in the room. They are the ones that you wish to persuade to buy your product or idea. They're ultimately the ones who determine if your presentation was successful or not by the actions that they take after the presentation is over. This is arguably the most critical thing to remember when crafting your presentation, and often the thing that is most overlooked. One must ask themselves, what is at stake for the audience? What's in it for them? What will keep them engaged and interested? And more importantly, what part of your message will matter most to them and inspire them to act? This is how you can create a winning and persuasive presentation. It's important also to remember to deliver your content in appropriate audience ways. Who are they? What makes them tick? What tone of voice is appropriate in addressing them? The energy and impact you make on your audience invariably bounces back to you in the form of an active and engaged audience. If you remember, they hold the power. Let's face it, presenting is challenging at the best. In fact, 73% of us have an innate fear of public speaking. It's fear worse than death for some people. And nothing is more challenging than having to do so in front of senior executives. To start with, like most audience members, they are time poor. However, it's how they make decisions that sets them apart. A long drawn story isn't going to work for them most of the time. A short and relevant message that gets to your ask quickly and effectively will. They tend to make their decisions the same way, quickly and efficiently. So cut to the chase to maximize your chances of buy-in. Brief them or set the agenda at the start of the presentation. Or better, beforehand, you can manage expectations and provide a clear call to action. There is nothing more dissatisfying to an audience, in particular one full of senior executives, than a wishy-washy presentation objective. More on this later. According to Nancy Duarte, arguably the world's leading authority on effective presentations, there is one thing your presentation or that you must communicate through your presentation. It's your big idea. In fact, the whole point of a presentation is to showcase that idea. But first, you need to define what your big idea is. Your idea must be able to express in your own perspective rather than a generalization of people. This is your presentation. So it's important that you let the audience know that these are opinions coming from you. Next, give your audience a reason to value your idea and why it's significant to see it from your point of view. This will help them recognize why they should cooperate in achieving your goal. Take note that you should be able to state why the audience should act upon the idea you're presenting and how it would benefit them as well. Continue to encourage them to believe in the potential of your idea by letting them know the good things they can gain from it. As mentioned earlier, a presentation won't be fully complete without a complete core. The idea or plan is being presented will lose purpose if it fails to make a conclusion. When presenting, it is important that you to address your call to action clearly. Understand what your goal is. What can you do to make this true? How can you make your audience picture come into the, how can you make your audience come into the picture? Manage and control your audience's emotive responses to your call to action. Break into subparts that they can make them easily manage and handle. Check off smaller goals from the list until you get to the final goal. This will allow them to see the actions they can create a big difference to reach the goal of the presentation. And more importantly, give them actions to take after the presentation has concluded. There is no denying storytelling is the buzzword at the moment. So why is it so important? Storytelling is a thing that creates a powerful connection between your audience and your presentation purpose. If your message is your destination and your audience is your passenger, then story is most certainly the vehicle that gets you both there. As mentioned earlier, the audience is the most important person in the room, conveying your message in a way that's relevant to them. By understanding their needs, fears, and desires is the way to ensure that they walk away as advocates. A good story has a beginning, middle, and end. Structure your presentation in the same way. Audience members expect a certain flow, and our ability to connect with subject matter relies on how it is told to us. It's also important to ditch the jargon and not alienate anyone. Use terms that are general and easy to understand. When you do this, more people will be able to grasp the idea and find value in the goal you're trying to achieve. Emotion is critical. I'm not talking about the tear jerker unless that's appropriate, but what I'm talking about is the human to human connection. For a message to be memorable, it must be told in a way that has meaning for the audience. Data, facts, and figures will swiftly forgotten if they're not communicated in a way that connects with your audience. Make it personal and real, which will also help build trust and, all important, rapport with your audience. And lastly, set the scene. Outline the current state of affairs to show expertise, helps control emotion and validates value. I've included here the infamous Duarte snake story, a story snake. Famous after years of research, she realized that all the successful speeches and presentations from Steve Jobs to Martin Luther King follows this very simple formula. It can be basically broken down into three parts: a beginning, a middle, and end, with a clear call to action, new list, and an analysis of what is and what could be. So what does this mean? What is applies to the current state of affairs. What is happening to the current marketplace? What could be relates to what could happen should the audience, world, market adapt your point of view. This is different to call to action. This is purely designed to give an idea of how good life could or should be if they buy into what you're selling or presenting about. It's important not to focus on selling. This will come later once you have painted a clear picture of how your audience can benefit from your idea or product. The story arc is broken down into how would you like to open your presentation, which is the beginning. Is there a midpoint, a tipping point, a reveal, or a surprise, which is the middle, and how would you like to end it, which is the end. And of course, what is your call to action? At the end of the presentation, you can offer what Dwight calls the new list, but I prefer to call it the vision of the future. It is the lasting impression you get to leave on your audience. A taste of the future that would exist should your audience adapt your point of view. Your vision of the future is the power of persuasion at its best. With presentations, the beginning is the critical part. Your opening line must be something your audience understands as well. This is the first step to building rapport and gaining their trust in you as the expert in the room. Set the agenda from the presentation early, and if your presentation follows the previous mentioned structure, your audience will follow easily. Allow them to focus on retaining information rather than trying to keep up with you. Tension is a great tool to use to build drama and control the emotion of the room, but tension must be carefully orchestrated. When you use effectively, the audience will be able to get a clear picture of the potential changes that could come up from the implementation of your idea. With a great start, you're sure to be able to successfully get your message across while maintaining focus and attention on your audience. The most effective and persuasive presentations are the most impactful. The most memorable outcomes are achieved through presentations that offer something new, enticing, rewarding, and relevant. Statistics. Provide them with statistics that present big changes that probably would not be expected in the first place, but make sure it's realistic and true. Visuals. Make use of strong visuals that can hit them emotionally. Dramatization. Convey your message through a dramatization that makes your audience think further to reach the point. Anecdotes. Even your own stories could be strong enough to leave a mark. Make it personable. It will endear your audience. Let us help tell your story more effectively. We can help you distill your message in a powerful and a persuasive presentation that would leave your audience in awe. Add me on LinkedIn, search for Scott Lee. You can see a lot of my awesomeness. I often share a lot of tips on this part, and speak to us if you like any help in strategizing and crafting your winning pitch.
Thank you, Scott. That's fantastic. And now we're moving on to Jen.
Okay. So let me start sharing my screen in just a minute. Oh. Okay. So I'll be there in just 1 minute. There we go. Okay, can you see my screen properly now?
Yeah, it's just gearing up. The internet's
okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Can you see? Okay, so I'm going to keep my presentation very short and sharp today. I'd like to talk with you about selfies and why yours probably sucks. And I hope that by the end of this, you will have seen some examples of what not to do and walked away with some tips for how to do them better. So here we go. So first of all, taking selfies is really, really hard. I've been a photographer for a very long time and I still suck at selfies. It's a very difficult thing to do and do well. There are some photographers who I follow who have the most remarkable selfie practice I have ever seen. But that's like the upper echelon of taking photos of yourself, and it's not something that most of us have the time or the patience to do. So a lot of us resort to selfies for many reasons: time to get to a photographer, booking, money, all of those kinds of things that stop us having a really good photo. So we resort to taking photos of ourselves and putting them up as our profile pics. But there is no excuse for having one that looks like this. Okay, so this is one that I took in preparation for today with my phone. It is dreadful, and you see so many that look like this. Please don't. There's no excuse for having one that looks like this either. So people know that this is awful. So then they do this. They go reach for the Snapchat filter. They put someone else in the photo with them as a way of hiding. So all of these things are, they make you look like you have something to hide, like you are not proud of yourself or proud of your business or proud of what you do. They send the wrong message. Please do not do this if you are in business. This is fine for sharing with your family and your friends and for having a bit of a, a bit of a muck around. Love doing this with my daughter, but this is not for work. So if at all possible, my key tip is hire a professional photographer. We know what we are doing. We know how to get the best out of you. We know how to light you well. We know how to pose you from your little toe to your very last eyelash to make you look fabulous. So if you can, hire a professional. If you can't, here are some tips. Tip number one, it's all about the light. So you need to be able to see the light. Look for, as you go about your day to day, see if you can notice how the light is coming into your home or into your office. The shadows that it makes. Are the shadows soft or are they harsh? What temperature is the light? Is it a warm light? Is it a cool light? When it gets dark and you turn on the lights overhead, have a look at the faces around you. Where do the shadows fall? Is the skin tone looking a bit more yellow now that you've got lights on overhead? Or are they fluorescent lights making you look a little bit pale? Notice those things. It's the light. It's the light. Really watch for that. The second thing is angles. Now, most of us take photos of ourselves with our phones. There's a reason selfie sticks are so long. Your phone, they're getting better all the time, but most phones have a 35mm lens, which is a good all-round general kind of lens, but it has a lot of distortion. All lenses will distort. The 35mm has a lot of distortion. So if you bring that phone too close to your face, you get a huge nose. Okay, well, I'm going to show you some really awful photos. Brace yourselves. This is going to be really bad. Oh, first up, let me go back to talking about light. This setup is one that a lot of natural light photographers use. That white strip that you see in the top is actually a floor-to-ceiling window that is covered with a sheer curtain. So diffused, filtered light is beautiful. You can use a sheer curtain. You can put up a shower curtain. Anything that lets light through but scatters the light is what you're looking for. Next, turn off your overhead lights. Get rid of that mixed light, nasty nose that it makes under eye sockets, noses and chins. And then find something to bounce light into the shadows. So those big dark patches that you see in that photo there, they're actually big polystyrene boards. They're white on the inside and they bounce light back into the shadows. And this is the kind of light that you get from that setup. So that the photo of the girl on the lounge was taken in exactly that setup there on the same day. So here I'm going to show you what not to do. First up, I want to say no clients were harmed in the making of this presentation. So my daughter very kindly allowed me to take some photos of her to explain this to one of my clients. So this is my daughter. She's a teenager and has pimples like a lot of teenagers do. This light on her is coming from the side, and you can see every bump on her face has a highlight and a shadow. On top of that, the camera is too close and it is too high. So she has a big head, big forehead, a big nose, and a teeny little chin. Okay. So now I've moved her and she's got filtered light on her, and it is coming from directly behind me and directly onto her. So now you can't see her spots as much, right? So there's been no retouching, haven't done anything except change the angle of the light. But still, the camera is too close and too high. So big forehead, big nose, teeny weeny little chin. So now I've moved back and see how we've lost distortion. Her face looks more normal now. So I've got the camera further away from her, but I've taken the filtration off the light, so it's not diffused anymore, and it's really quite harsh. And here we've got filtered light, a slight angle to the light, so we've got some shadows shaping her face. We're a better distance away, so there's less distortion. Okay, now just to be fair to my daughter, this is what she looks like when we photograph her properly. Yeah. So this is what happens when you have a professional photograph you with good equipment, good lighting, good posing. Okay, we go from this to this. Tip number 2. Now, at the risk of doing myself out of a job, I want to tell you this little tip. Shoot some footage. Taking selfies is a really, being photographed at all puts you in a very vulnerable and self-conscious situation. I know from experience, when it's you and a camera and you're taking selfies, it's awkward. What do? You know, how do you behave in front of a camera and get the photos that you want? A tip is to make your phone a video camera instead of a stills camera. Set yourself up at your work desk, frame it really well, get a nice looking angle, nice capture of what you're doing. Shoot just a very short clip of footage, and then I want you to go through that footage frame by frame and find one that you think you look great in, screenshot that, and there's your next post for social media. Or probably not for a profile pic, but great for that conversational thing that we do on social media. Give it a go. It's much easier to be less self-conscious if you are actually doing something. So Shani, I think you do this yourself. If you might take some footage of you packing one of your boxes, you can take a still from that. This is my selfie. This is my current headshot, my current profile pic. Now, because I'm in a creative industry, I can get away with being a little bit arty-farty in my portrait. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend this for everyone, but this is me. It is actually a selfie. It is taken with my SLR, not my phone. I think I took probably 80 or 100 shots this day, and I got maybe 5 that I'm happy with. Is it perfect? No. I don't know what's going on with those 2 top fingers on my top hand there. Like, I don't know what that's about. A professional photographer photographing me would have noticed that and asked me to curl those around and make them softer. But this captures me. This is my smile, this is how I am when you come for a shoot with me. I look like this almost all the time. So this is what a selfie can look like if you do it well. I'd like to finish by showing you some of my actual work with my clients. This is the kind of transformation that you get when you work with a professional photographer, a professional makeup artist. So some of these may be Nikki's. Nikki is here with us today. I'm not sure, Nikki, whether I've got any of yours in or not. These are the kinds of transformations that you can expect when you work with a professional photographer. If you are serious about promoting yourself as an expert in your field, I highly recommend finding someone that you know, trust, to take you to this in your images for work in particular. Don't always have to be serious if you are in a more relaxed setting for your work. And what we do is we take you from the you that arrives to highlight the best parts of you and downplay the bits that we want to downplay. Do I photograph men? You betcha. It seems, though, looking through these, I only photograph men with stubble. What's that? I'm sorry. So this is me. You'll find me at vividity.com.au. I specialise in photographing women. I do photograph men. 99% of my clients come in saying they would rather be at the dentist having root canal therapy than being photographed. And they usually leave tired, but having had a remarkable experience and seeing themselves anew. Here is where you can find me online. By all means, take a photo of that. I think these contact details will probably be sent out at some point. That's me. I look forward to any questions that you might have later on. I'll stop sharing. Thanks, Adrian.
Oh, thanks, Jen. I'm a bit teary after all. That's fantastic.
Oh.
Okay, right. Well, we are now on to passing over to Sid to hear a bit about Google marketing. So over to you, Sid.
Thank you. Hopefully you should be able to see my screen. Now, my presentation is going to be slightly different to my peers over here. So while their presentations have focused on the work they have done and given you great tips about it, I thought to myself, it's going to be very difficult to talk and give you tips about SEO and Google marketing and stuff like that, because, you know, having 10 minutes to speak, introduce myself and talk about tips is going to be very, very difficult. In fact, I think Sarah earlier mentioned that she attended one of my webinars yesterday, and that was a 1-hour webinar just talking about some introductory stuff. I've got another webinar coming up next week, which is more about Google marketing. So if some of you are interested, as part of the same New South Wales series, I'm doing a workshop there. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and the business that we run, because the idea for me was the people we are getting into this particular presentation today, we are talking about getting you in as other businesses who want, like-minded businesses who want to join us to refer and grow the business. So rather than me talking purely about, the great stuff I do, I thought, let's talk a little bit about who I am, etc. And, hopefully that should get everyone, as you guys have also introduced yourselves, does this business that we are offering give you something that that you will also want to join? So a little bit about myself. I've been working in the online space for nearly 2 decades. The last 10 years have been with this current company of ours, which is Bruce Clay. Bruce Clay is a pioneer in search marketing since 1996. And while we provide a 360-degree digital marketing solution, We specialize in SEO and Google Ads. This includes content, Google Analytics, CRO, landing page optimization, a lot of boring stuff for some people. And that's why they need to connect with us. We've got offices in the Middle East, in the United States, in Asia, and in Australia. Our blog is followed by digital marketing professionals globally. And we have written the most definitive book on SEO, which is part of the Dummy series, if you guys are familiar with the yellow Dummy series books. So we have got an 800-page book on SEO. If you really want to bore yourself to death, please go ahead and buy it from Amazon. And we have trained over 5,000 people professionally. Now, we've worked with brands, both large and small. And on the larger side, we work with people like MYOB, Groupon. We also work with smaller businesses like City Swoon, Qubits, BI Worldwide, Peanut, etc. So, we are industry agnostic, and we can work across both small and very, very large clients. A little bit more about myself. I'm a domain expert in digital marketing, specializing. I can see Jen laughing at that. Yeah, Matrix.
I love what I think I do.
That's what I think I do. And my mom, what does she think I do? What do my friends think I do? And what I actually do is bow down to Google. So I'm a digital marketing expert, specializing in SEO, Google Ads, web design, and stuff like that. I speak routinely and I'm an instructor at various industry forums. TEDx is one of them. Leah, I think, heard one of my presentations at TEDx, and I was very happy about that. Thanks, Leah. I speak with the Australian Marketing Institute, the DMA Asia, SES, AdTech, etc. Now, a little bit of backstory on myself, and Michael, I know he's on the phone right now, but he mentioned about how you have to go door-to-door marketing, and he was talking about the missionaries and all of that. And I so identify with that, because that's how I actually started my own business. So that was my precursor. So I have actually done door-to-door sales, gone out there. I've done shopping center promotions, telephone sales, you name it. I've done every type of sale imaginable. And that's how I slowly started the business. So that was the background of it. I ran large sales teams as well. And then I thought there has to be a better way of doing business. And in 2005, and prior to that, I'd also set up a website which didn't do as well, and I shut it down. But I knew, because of my background, I have a degree in marketing and then I followed that up with an MBA specializing in e-commerce. And I knew there has to be a better way. So in 2005, I launched this new website called bestphonedeals.com.au. And from my previous exercise where I had failed in the digital marketing business, I retuned the entire system. And I was able to take my website to the top of Google search results. And this, what I've got for you on screen, is a screenshot from back in 2005. And as you can see, Google looked very, very different back then, right? They're just some plain text results. Now, when someone typed in things like phone deals, mobile phone service, a home phone service, stuff like that, my website came up naturally to the top. And as you can see, I've also highlighted, this is the first page of Google results. My website out there on the left-hand side is ranked at the 3rd position for a particular search term there. So my phone lines were ringing. I had changed my business model from an outbound model where I was going door knocking and doing all the hard yards, to my phone lines were actually ringing. I set up a small call center, and I had, with a team of 6 people, I was doing more sales than other teams of 50 people in call centers, because they were ringing out, cold calling, disturbing people when they were, at dinner or doing other important stuff. And these were people calling me and saying, hey, I want to buy from you, and I was just taking all those calls. So with a team of 6 people, we were doing more sales than a team of 50 people. So you can imagine the kind of stuff. And what I also did, and I've highlighted a second box over there. Now that's where in Google, you can do 2 things. You can do SEO, which is getting yourself ranked organically. Plus you can do Google advertising. And that's the right-hand side that you see back then. Google has now stopped the right-hand side of ads, and now the ads are either on the top or the bottom of the page, right? But back then, the ads were also on the right side. So I also had my ads appearing. So this way, I had 2 chances to sell to people. Now, the difference with the advertising is you actually pay. So every time someone clicked on that, it costed us money, right? But I had done the maths. So even if I spent, let's say, $2 or $3 a click over here, and out of every 100 people who came to my website, 10 of them made a purchase, there was still money in my bank. And if you can get that calculation right, you can keep on doing this day in and day out. And that's exactly what I did. And with that particular business of mine, I sold over $15 million worth of services for various partners of ours, right from TPG, Dodo. Back then there was other players as well, Soul Communication, DigiPlus, all of them. I'm currently the MD of Bruce Clay Australia, and I bring a unique perspective of working across both the Indian and Australian markets. I've successfully navigated the challenges presented by the complex Indian business environment. I've implemented technology and processes to remotely manage the business and improve efficiencies. Just as a side note, I spent the last 10 years, not exactly the last 10 years, but about a couple of years ago, 10 years back then, I spent in India building up the digital marketing business for Bruce Clay there. And at that point of time, I left the best phone deals business. So I was letting the money come in. Sales were, so I had completely automated that business. Sales were coming in, all of that was happening. And I started full time in helping other businesses with their digital marketing services. So that's basically what I wanted to talk to you guys about. And now just a very, very little about digital marketing in general. So what I want to tell you is, look, don't just focus on one or a small aspect of digital. Digital is actually really wide, right? Just like in traditional marketing, you could do radio, you can do print, you can do outdoor, you can do door-to-door, so below the line activities, above the line activities. Similarly, in digital marketing, you can do webinars like we are doing right now. This is an example of a webinar. You can do influencer marketing, where you actually connect with micro influencers and other celebrities, etc., pay them to talk about you. And a lot of businesses have exploded that way. You can do social media. Now within social media, again, now that's a segment. You can do Facebook, you can do Snapchat, you can do LinkedIn, you can do Twitter, you can do Pinterest, Instagram, the list goes on, right? Video marketing, you can do YouTube, you can create videos and put them up on video on YouTube, you can do it on Vimeo, you can even do on Facebook, you can do videos, and you can get people to share them. You can do SEO and Google ads like I just spoke about. You can do advertising on not only on Google but on Facebook as well. Email marketing, that's another segment, right? A lot of people forget about email marketing, but email marketing is another very, very big source of building your customer database, etc. And this by far is my overall favorite slide in my entire deck across many, many years. And what this basically signifies, I say your website is your 24/7 sales superstar. This has always been ingrained in my head over here. Because why? Your website is awake 24/7. People can come to it. You can have if you have the right information present, you can have a global audience. It's your digital shop front. And it will sell for you. It will do all the selling on your behalf, right? And what your job is to get all these on the left-hand side of the screen. You want to get traffic from all these various sources. You want to get Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Now, whatever is relevant for you guys, right? You want to get that traffic coming to your website. And then your website does the whole process of helping people read about your product and service, have a great landing page, have hero content, have great images. You can then have a great call to action. So the content is very important. Have the contact form, or if you're an e-commerce business, your products front and center, and then automatically that converts into that sale. And that sale could mean different things to different businesses. For an e-commerce business, who actually has a product to sell, you can actually put that up and have the product selling. And for other businesses, it could just mean a lead, right? Someone connecting with you saying, hey, I'm interested in your photography services, or hey, I'm interested in having a leadership coaching session, So different things for different people, but that's at the end of the day, that's your goal, to get sales, right? Just a little bit more about Google itself. Guys, just remember, today, 93% of all the searches that are starting, people are doing research before they buy. So think about it, whether you want to rent a house, buy a car, buy a mobile phone, plan your next holiday, look for a job. What is it that you do? What does everyone do? We jump to Google, right? And we jump to Google, and today Google in Australia has, in fact, that's a slightly old stat, it's now way above 90% market share in Australia. So if you're not present on Google, you're missing out on a large chunk of your audience. And the other thing I like about Google versus all the other mediums that are there is Google is an intent-based medium, guys. So think about it. With Google, when you're searching, you're actually telling Google, I'm interested in this thing. That's the only reason why you're doing the search. Otherwise, you're not going to go and do a search. If I'm not interested in buying a mattress, I'm not going to go and do a search about a mattress. Is that right? It's just like when we talk about all the advertising that we see, there might be 100 ads about mattresses that we might see during a routine day, but we will not even register that. Right? We'll go past the billboard, a radio jingle might come on, but we will not even think about it. But now, say tomorrow you wanted to actually buy a mattress, every time that ad comes, it's going to register in your head. That's exactly what's happening in Google. You have just told Google, hey, I'm interested in buying a car. Boom. That's when your ad should appear on Google, or that's when your organic search results should appear on Google. And that's what this is all about. I'm going to close it off by giving you an example over here. Now, on purpose, I've taken a small website in this particular case. And what this is let me just I think I didn't have it on Zoom. So let me just, sorry, Zoom webinar, but I didn't have the slide zoomed in. Now, what I want to show you over here is, this is an example of a small client. It's called bmetalb.com. They do all these designer steel fences, privacy screens, etc. Now, and when they came to us about a year ago, their brand name was actually bmetalb.com.au, but their target audience was the United States. They had tried their hand in Australia. It wasn't working out that well, but in the United States, they were doing well. So I got them to rebrand their website from .com.au to .com, because that's the one thing that I found was, hey, if someone is in a geography in the United States, they see a .com.au, then they're not automatically not wanting to click. So the number of clicks will come down significantly. So we got them to rebrand that. Second thing, notice this. Now, when someone types in, and this is Google in the United States, not in Australia. So if you do it in Australia, you will not get the same results, because remember, Google localizes your search results. It personalizes your search results, which means what you see is going to be very different to what another person sees, right? So if you have your own website and you're going to it all the time, and let's say your website was about leadership, you will generally see your website much higher position than what a normal user will see, because Google has personalized that result based on your internet history, right? So in this particular case, what it is someone has just gone, and I'm saying a random user who is interested in buying, say, a metal fence or a privacy screen, right? They've gone in and typed in Google metal privacy screen. Now, notice the number up there. There is 215 million search results. That's the number of results just under the search box. That's how many web pages Google has come across that talk about metal privacy screens. And here, our client is on that first page of Google, rubbing shoulders with Walmart and bhg.com, right? Now think about it. When someone came to Google and did this search, they were never even in their dream state going to think about B Metal B, right? They were just wanting to buy a screen, and they've come in, and by the website being ranked over there, suddenly we are in contention for winning the business. And that's what, digital marketing can do. But it does take time. SEO, as an example, takes time. Google advertising, on the other hand, is instant. You can actually get results very, very quickly because you pay money to Google. They're willing to put you up right up there instantly, right? So yeah, that's it from my end, guys. And hopefully I've inspired you guys enough that you will want to join our network of people along with my co-presenters. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Sid. Oh, that's fantastic. All righty. Well, now we have questions. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask?
So we've got a hard stop at 12 o'clock, Adrian. So we've got 10.
I think we'll open it up a bit, Leah, because we did start a bit late, so we can keep it open to about 12 or so. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask or discuss or say? Or
Well, I'd just like to say that I have learnt so much today, and really value the time that each of the presenters have put in, and also for all of the participants being here with us. It's it's been really inspiring. So thank you to everybody.
yes, yes, I concur with that, because certainly been so much to take in, and it's been fantastic. Sean Matthews, I see you there. Would you like to introduce yourself? Is he there? Sean?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Would you missed out on the introductions? Would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Yes, okay. Thanks. Yes, my name's Sean Matthews. I'm the managing partner and founder of Banksia Consulting Group. So part of what Banksia does is it's a startup. I've had it operating about 6 weeks, and basically look at go-to-market strategies for businesses going into healthcare and aged care, because that's a lot of my background's in that space. And then looking at cost management in the background with supply chain and managing that sort of area. And then evolving part of my business is the social media part, which I'm doing a lot of podcasting at the moment, which is going quite well. Enjoying it. So it's been interesting. I've got a few clients. Building my website. I've got to get my website looking good. And then I've just joined looking at a partnership with a software company where I'm going to be doing a lot of cost analysis across a number of different departments in small to medium sized businesses, and looking at scenarios that we can look at that can save them money at the end of the day, just by changing process within the business, which allows people to do a little bit more than just focus on inside their business, but doing stuff that's more productive, and then having a system and processing that they can identify the opportunities and to improve their businesses. So yeah, that's
fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you. Have we got any questions, or we will just move on to our closing slides? Okay, I think we will just continue on.
Maybe, Adrian, once you do that, the closing slides presentation where we talk about what the group is about and stuff like that, then we can have some final questions from people.
Yeah, okay, that's good. We can do that. Okay, so we've done that. So we're back to our circle of influence, and you'll see that from the presentations today that we have select and really people who are expert in their field. And what we're looking to do is to grow this this circle of influence. And how does it work? Well, to start with, we're looking at a group of 12 that will meet together for at least 3 months. When we're looking for strategic networking, where people can share their knowledge and expertise and work together, really. And by doing this this on a regular basis, the people in the room get to understand your business, and then they are able to refer you business when the time is right. So we all have our networks, and we all know businesses within our world. And I suppose, if anything, that this particular network is more about people who are in the business development area, but it can be wider afield. So we will be having pitching, we'll be doing exercise where people can talk about what they do. There'll be sessions where there's information sessions where you can talk about your specialty, and it is actually professional development from your peers. This is absolutely true, because we have had lots of discussions between the 5 of us on various topics, and it's challenging and robust, and makes you see a bigger picture. So it's such a wonderful way to connect with like-minded business owners. So the benefits of getting involved: you widen your network. We are focusing on getting referrals through happenings, so that this brings sales. Peer-to-peer education, to hear Sid talk about the way that Google works is something that we all need to do, and that goes across all our presentations today. Leah with her sales mindset, leadership approach, Jen with her approach of the importance of corporate photos, and I tell you, it's really important, and Scott with the storytelling. All these parts go together into what is your business development system, which I hope that that from my side, that the Book Yourself Solid system is like an umbrella involving all of this. And you go out and you work on your business as people working from home, but you're still highly professional, and having this sort of network is really important. And I found that it is actually it's probably the most robust, much more work situation activity that I've seen. It's really been fantastic. So to join us, we're scheduling the second Thursday of each month. We're starting on the 12th of November. We do have a link up on Eventbrite, which I will need to check. And we're just looking at scheduling in 12 places. So we have 5 now, so we have availability for 7, and you've seen the businesses that we have, so you will see where you can help. will be a cost to this, will be $99 a month, but at the moment it is free for the next 6 months. And we will be, if you're interested, then you can get in contact with one of us and we will send you a questionnaire and we will to get to know you. And that is, I'm going to stop screen sharing there. And if there are any questions, then we can have those now. Okay, well, we're just really on 12 o'clock, so I think we will finish there. We can start. We can finish on time, which is rather good. And thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions, then you can certainly get in contact with us. I will be sending out emails to thank you for attending, and yeah, let me know if today, if you'd like to come along for the 12th of November. It would be great to have you with us. Anyone else have any other comments? Leah, Sid?
Yeah, I guess just in terms of, you know, if people have a key takeaway they'd like to share before we sign off, just, you know, the top, what's on top of mind that has been great for you today. Jeanette, do you want to start? You're on mute.
Just have to unmute.
Look, I think the most important thing for me is that I have to refine my pitch. I just fall to pieces in things like this when I have to do my pitch. So I'm going to practice. Thank you.
Good.
Well, we've got the expert in Scott for sure.
I can see that.
And I can help you with the messaging and your posture.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, thank you.
What about you, Michael? You're on mute.
Unmute. Just unmute if you can, just for the closing time.
Michael, you're on mute.
Still unmuted. What about you?
Maybe what about Katrina? What's been your most a takeaway for you from today?
Well, I'm still in startup as well, so I've got a lot to do in terms of branding. So there's been some really helpful information today from many aspects. So presentation-wise, my website, I mean, there's a lot of work to do. But I think I've got a pretty good view in my mind. I've just got to get it out there and get myself out there.
Good. Terrific.
Thank you.
Mark, what about you?
Well, there's probably not one area that's been discussed today that we can't all improve on. And, you know, you can't do it all at once, of course, so you've got to pick one by one mostly. I think people work more efficiently when you only do one at a time, especially me as a guy. We're not good at multitasking, so one task at a time is good enough for me, I think, at the moment. But yeah, they all need.
What's the one takeaway for you? What are you going to do differently as a result of your time here today?
Well, I am actually in need of a search engine marketer right now because I've just gone through the last 3 months of a marketing strategy. So yeah, that's my key one right now, and we just ramped up more. We're doing more marketing now than we've done in 21 years of history, but we're still only scratching the surface. So yeah, there's so many areas to improve on this now, and you know, in a lull is the time to be marketing.
Yes. And Michael, you're off mute now. What's your takeaway for today?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was writing. Look, I was pleased to see that one of the things happens when you're a consultant, you get very lonely, very, very lonely, and it's always good to have like-minded people around you to listen to them, to talk to them and to exchange views. And instead of having one single aspect of that, which is, I'm looking at the thing as a whole. And I thought it was good, and I want to be in the next one when there is a next one.
That's really encouraging to hear, because we have laboured over this issue of what's the value add of like-minded people coming together, and what is the like-mindedness we're seeking. And that really is really reassuring that the discussion itself the experience itself, right? Because this is a group coaching and professional development, 2 hours that would normally cost thousands of dollars in corporate, thousands, right? I'm $10,000 for half a day in corporate. So who else have really enjoyed the experience of just being in amongst people who are wanting to make a difference and move forward? Yeah. Fabulous. And what about you, Sean? What's been your takeaway?
Look, there's not just one, there's three. I think I got a lot out of Scott's storytelling. I think there's a lot to be said about telling a story about your brand and what you do. Sid's information on Google marketing, it's such a powerful tool of Google, so I've got a lot out of that. And Scott and I have spoken before, and he's a bit of a legend in that space. So there's lots to be learned. And then the other one is updating my headshot, because Scott mentioned that I've changed my look somewhat from
we're talking about transformation here, buddy. I still remember you in the corporate days. Who are you?
Well, I've decided to go the goatee and go for a bit of a hairstyle change. So just to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely can see that.
Thanks.
Anybody else? I think people have dropped off now. Yeah. So Adrian, sounds like you've pulled a great team together to get started. So thank you.
Well, it's been great to work with you all, and today was the start of moving forward, and we schedule in the 12th of November, starting at 10 o'clock, and we hope to have you join us again then. Okay, so we'll say bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, thank you. Oh, Scott left too.
Yep.
Scott, I got that.
Scott, you're the host, not the guest.
Oh, well, it went very well. It was really good to see all your presentations. They all had their own flavour and information, and there was a lot to take in, I have to say.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I saw all your presentations.
Or you'll just edit.
Yeah, you can stop the recording, Adrian.